Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jason, or as you might know me as EasyCat, and I am joined today by Carl, who's dancing. He's so happy. He's so happy to be here. Wow. Okay, that's enough dancing. If we dance too much, they're going to start expecting it. Today we want to talk to you about Gen Con. So if you've never heard about Gen Con before, Gen Con is the largest board game convention in North America. It is huge.
So huge.
Yeah, and we go every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the things we love doing is hunting down the hottest games. We make a plan, we map it out, we go in different directions. Like, it's like a shopping sport, and we really enjoy it a little too much.
Prepared.
Yeah, we bring multiple suitcases, like, it's a lot. But every year we go through the list of hot games, and we find the ones we're the most interested in, and then we narrow that list down to, like, what we're going to seek out every single day.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Yes. And Carl, I feel like you usually make the list sooner than I do.
I used to, when we first started, I made a whole document and everything so that I can coordinate where we're going.
Carl had like a serial killer like spreadsheet that he would keep with like notes and highlights and all kinds of crazy things.
That's right.
That's right.
But then after the first year, we came back with so many games. I was like a pack mule. I had like bags in the front, bags in the back, bags on the side, walking at this convention. It was really difficult. I was like, I don't know if I can do this multiple years. So as years passed, I did not go as deep.
Yeah, we've taken it down a notch since then. So today we want to show you, we have a list of 50 games. So we're gonna try and like cook through these pretty quickly. But 50 games. Now some of these we have played and we just want you to know about because we think they're great. And if you're going to Gen Con, you should definitely check them out. And even if you're not going to Gen Con, there are things to look out for because typically things that release at Gen Con will be available in stores where anyone can get them. Usually, if not August, then usually by September or October, they're usually available in retail.
And some of these games are completely unknown. All we know is the image that they gave us and maybe a short description, but otherwise we don't know too much about them. Maybe it's just based on the name and a photo. Yeah,
we went through the Board Game Geek preview list of games to curate our own list. So we went through and like found the ones we were the most interested in. I will say the only games we're going to be talking about today are games that are allegedly going to be on sale at Gen Con. We aren't going to be talking about any games that are specifically going to just be demoed at Gen Con. Now, things can change, right? A lot of these companies are getting these games in like on the ship specifically for Gen Con, and if there's a shipping delay, I can't tell you how many times we've gone to a booth ready to purchase a game and they're like, oh, actually it didn't make it in time for the con. So take everything we say with a grain of salt, but these are the ones that right now we think are going to be for sale and we're excited to try and get our hands on. All right, are we ready to jump in? 50 games.
Yes!
All right, we're going to jump in. We're going to try and give you a quick little bit of information about everyone, and then if you're interested, you can do some more research on your own.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. All right, my first game I want to talk about is Witchcraft. Now, this is a game that I had my eye on for a while. It's actually been out for a little while, but it's kind of hard to get a hold of because I think it was a foreign release, and then it was just recently brought into the States via a Kickstarter from 25th Century Game. In the game, it's a solo board game, and you are playing a coven of witches, and you're trying to prove their innocence and defend a village from the supernatural.
Wow.
I love that theme so much. It sounds so cool, and I love solo games. So I am very, very, very excited for this one, and I hope to check it out, and hopefully we can find it.
And one of the games I put on the list is Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard. It's a two-player game, also from 25th Century Games. It's a 1v1 thing, and it seems like it could be really fun because they're so... I don't know, Scotland Yard versus Jekyll and Hyde, like what is that about? It felt like it was interesting because it was slightly odd.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it's probably an asymmetric sort of thing where Scotland Yard is like trying to hunt down Jekyll and Hyde, and Jekyll and Hyde are probably I love how I say it like they're like a band. The Jekyll and Hyde are on the run. Jekyll and Hyde are the same person, of course, and they are probably trying to hide from the police. So
I'm curious what the mechanics are. Maybe after I find out, maybe I won't like it as much. It kind of looks like Unmatched a little bit.
Yeah, it has like an Unmatched.
But I'm hoping that there's more to it.
The next game I'm interested in is a game called Sparks. This is for 1 to 4 players, and it comes from a company called Alion. Alion. In the game, you're running a factory and you're building robots, and you're bringing the robots to life. But my favorite thing about the game is that you can use like cogs to hire animal helpers to help you build the robots.
Oh.
And the animal helpers are so stinking cute, and that's the part that I could care less about the robots. I know they're like the main attraction, but what I want are the little animal helpers that help you build the robots.
Okay.
And you can have, I think, like 4 or 5, if I remember right, like different animal helpers to help you. It sounds so stinking cute. I think it is more of like a family-friendly game, but I'm very excited to check it out.
Awesome. My next game is called Agree to Disagree. I think it's a common thing for some people, and I think this game is super interesting because you're trying to win by disagreeing. I'm not really sure how that works, but it was in the description. It's a 2 to 8 player game.
It's like
From
a party
Adam's
game.
Apple Games. Yeah, it's a party game, and yeah, I'm just so curious. Like, how do you win by disagreeing? I'm not really sure how that works.
It definitely seems like a game. I think you're supposed to find people that you disagree with on a subject. I think the game is probably somewhere between a party game and like a conversation starter, because that's kind of what it said in the description when I was looking at it yesterday, is sort of a game that you could bring to like a party, or you could even bring to like a work event to like, kind of spark conversation between like new people who don't know each other too well. I feel like this could get very volatile or heated, so I don't know, but we definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, I'm purposely finding something that you're going to disagree with, and I'm going to talk to you about it.
Sounds so fun. Can't wait to play that.
Party time.
But yeah, we're definitely going to check it out. I feel like we've kind of fallen more in love with party games over the last year, so we're looking forward to more of them this year, which is pretty cool. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Cities. This is coming to us from Devir. It is for 2 to 4 players. This game looks... I really love city building games, and I love games where you get to put different facilities and different landmarks and parks, and you have to put all of that together in a way that makes sense, and you get points off of it, and that is very much this game. Everyone I've talked to who's played this so far has loved it, so that also makes me very excited for it. So we're definitely going to have to check that one out.
My next game is Video Game Champion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I didn't mean to throw you off.
I thought you were saying something.
No, I was just excited for this one.
It's by Arcane Wonders, and it's 2 to 5 players, and it's like a hand management game. It takes you back to the 90s where there was a 16-bit gaming revolution when we were all buying different systems. And in this game, you actually are playing a kid in the 90s who's trying to make a little change to, save up money to buy games. You're trying to ask your parents for gifts for games. You're trying to find time to play them, and then you just play them all day. And it's just about managing that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I was one of those kids.
Yeah, we love video games. We love the nostalgia factor of video games. So this just sounds like a lot of fun, and something that is like it's fun because we like board games and video games. So I think we like something that kind of like crosses those two.
Yeah, they even talked about the gaming magazines. I used to subscribe to those.
I did too.
I don't know how they're going to put all that into a game. So I'm really, 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 really curious.
Yeah. My next one is a game called Washed Ashore. Now, this says it's for 1 to 99 players. I think this game is I'm looking at this game more as a solo game, but essentially you are someone who has been washed ashore on an island, and you are playing out these different cards and working to survive the island, kind of Robinson Crusoe-ish. I think it has kind of a narrative story element to it where you are playing out your days on this island, trying to make sure you survive, trying to find a way off the island, trying to explore the island. I love stuff like that. I like solo games that have a lot of narrative to them. This just sounds really cool, so I am going to try and get my hands on this. This is from Alley Cat Games, and it really is all about surviving this island and trying to find a way off. And it seems like it's a lot of card play, playing cards that have story on them, and then also playing cards that have, it seems like the story is kind of built into this deck. So maybe you find some resources, maybe something happens to you, maybe you get a wound, and then you have to try and heal it.
Choose your own adventure.
Like a choose your own adventure kind of style game. So that sounds very cool to me.
My next game is called Search for UAPs. 1 to 5 players, Renegade Studios. UAPs. That stands for unidentified alien persons.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
It's not. That's not it. But it's something like that. It's like UFOs, but I think they've updated it.
Yeah.
They changed the name of it.
Is it the like politically correct version of UFOs?
Yeah, something like that. And so,
oh no,
you're supposed to. It's like a deduction game where you're supposed to deduct where satellites are and where a meteor shower is going to come in and the locations of these UAPs. And I love deduction games, so it sounds exciting.
It's a very similar game to Search for Planet X and Search for the Lost Species.
Right, that's right.
Fun fact, we have never played Search for Planet X, and we own Search for the Lost Species, but we haven't played it either. But we're still excited for this game.
I want to play them.
Maybe we try playing Search for the Lost Species and then see if we're
Yeah.
interested in this.
Totally.
That sounds like a good plan. Next up for me is a game called River Valley Glassworks. This is coming from Allplay. We are big Allplay fans in this house. Every single Allplay game we play, we really enjoy. They're just really quick, easy to learn, but like they have a good little bit of crunch and a little bit of strategy to them. River Valley Glassworks, I'm especially excited for because I've been playing a lot of it on Board Game Arena, which, if you're not aware, Board Game Arena is a website where you can like play a lot of games digitally, and for me, it's a great way to like try out games. And River Valley Glassworks, you're basically like collecting different sets of these like stones, these like stones in the river, and the river like shifts. So like rocks and stones are like moving down the river as you play, and you're collecting different sets of them onto your board. And so it kind of has that like sifting for gold sort of feel to it. But I love the artwork. The game is like simple, but it has a good little bit of strategy to it. It reminds me complexity-wise of things like Azul, which I really love.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for this game. I just think it's going to be so fun. I've been playing it digitally now for, I want to say, like 3 or 4 months, so I'm excited to finally get my hands on a physical copy. This is, like I said, it's from Allplay, and it's for 1 to 5 players.
Does it actually have animals like it does on the cover?
Yeah, it has. The characters that you play as are like different animals, like really cute animals. But I like
that's
the gameplay.
the real reason.
But I like the gameplay as well. I've actually played this one several times, and I like how it plays.
This next one, I think we both really actually like, right?
Yeah.
It's Kinfire Delve Callus Lab. 1 to 2 players only? Really?
Yeah, so the way that Kinfire Delve works is they have these boxes that are built for 1 to 2 players. It comes with 2 characters. But if you get multiple, because they have different boxes with different characters and different villains, different cards. If you get multiple, you can take the game up to 4 players. This is from Incredible Dream.
Oh, okay. And also, it says it's about post office workers arranging packages on shelves to complete challenge.
That is incorrect. I messed up the information. That is not true. It is not about post office workers.
Woo!
Oh boy, no, Kinfire. I'm so sorry. That's fine. Kinfire Delve. You're playing as 1 or 2 players, 1 or 2 characters, and you're delving into this magical well. It's a cooperative game, and you're playing cards from your hand to do actions to like take on the various challenges of this well. And then when you try to get to the bottom where you face like the boss of the well. We really love this. I actually just did a video today on Kinfire Delve Callus Lab, so this is actually a game we already own. But we love this series.
We want to play it like now.
Yeah, I put the game on the table to film the video, and I sadly looked at Carl and said, I wish I was playing this right now instead of filming it. So that's how much we love it. Like, it's really, really fun. It's
excellent.
Lots of strategy, and we love cooperative games, right?
We do.
Yeah. Okay, this next one is from me. I'm very excited for this game. This is probably one of the most complex games that I'm looking to pick up. It's called Reef Project.
Looks cute.
It is for 1 to 4 players. It is from Board and Dice, and essentially you are becoming a hero of the reef. You're doing a restoration project to try and save the oceans. I love that thematically. Like, we have a lot of ocean-themed games. I love nature-themed games in general. So this is actually a pretty crunchy like Euro game where there's a lot of like worker placement and moving around this board and placing different things that you're trying to go out and do research projects to try and like head up conservation projects. It looks really cool. We will for sure be picking up this game.
Is that a bear with a scuba gear? No,
it might be.
No way.
I hope it's a bear with scuba gear underwater. We will for sure be getting this because I have pre-ordered this to pick up at the convention. So this is a for sure. We will be picking this up at the convention. I'm very excited for it. I just thematically it looks really cool. And I really love crunchier Euro games, so I'm excited to play this.
Reef Project.
Reef Project.
Top tier? Oh, that's the name of the game! Top tier!
It does not have a question mark at the end.
It's like, probably another player game, party game rather. 4 to 10 people only. No 11 or 12, please. Indie boards and cards. Let's see, you're supposed to create and compare tier lists with the all-powerful tier wizard. Who's the tier wizard?
I don't know. I think this game. There's not a lot of information on
It
this
probably
game.
comes with pre-made tier lists, like the not Price is Right. What's that game where like ding 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 ding? You have to
like Family Feud.
Family
Yeah.
Feud.
I don't know.
It's like Family Feud. Yes.
So
the number one thing that people say about this and that.
Maybe
Top tier.
I think it's going to be more based on there's a like TikTok, Instagram trend where they use these filters and they like take things in a category and they rank them by tiers.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be kind of based on that, but in like a card game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be
But-
fun.
But
I'll
honestly,
try it.
there's no information really except for the cover and the little blurb. So it could be either of those things. It could be both of those things.
Yeah, and the cover only shows colors.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that's the reason. Looking at the cover, that's the reason I said I think it is what I said, because that's what those tier lists look like. Like they have those color tiers, and they're like
do?
S, A, B, C.
Oh,
Yeah.
that kind of tier, like in video gaming, like your
I
get it.
Yeah, I think
S
it's like
tier,
that.
That's
But
what
I think
get.
I think you were excited for this just because it's like a party game and it involves like ranking things and things
Okay.
like that. So
Okay.
yeah, this next one is another crunchy game. This is called From the Moon. This is for 1 to 4 players. It is from La Boîte de Jeu. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly. I believe it's going to be carried by Hachette. In this game, you are crafting workers and building bases and saving humanity on the moon. But I mainly want it because the pieces are so cool, and it has these little like moon rovers that you put characters in, and they just look so cute. Cute is probably not the word that the designers thought they would be called when they made them, but to me, they look adorable. And you put little workers in them. This game looks like a lot. Like it's going to be very crunchy. It's going to have like a lot of like different things you can do. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of actions that you have to take to like build an engine to do other actions, and I'm sure it's going to have a lot of that, but I love stuff like that, and I feel like we don't have a lot of games that are themed around the moon, per se. I feel like we maybe have like 1 or 2, but also the pieces just look so fun. I want to take my little moon rover and drive it around the board and just have a time. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
So, yeah, From the Moon. Very excited.
The next game is Belrati.
Yeah.
Belrati! 3 to 8 players from Cosmos. Let's see what it is. I don't even know what this game is. Oh, this is the one where there's Belrati. He's sneaking around and putting up fake paintings in the museum, and you have to spot the fake ones.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this game is played, but it looks like another party-esque type of game. And I don't know, I always feel like these games that seem so abstract or seem like I don't know how they're going to do it are always interesting to me. So I'm curious about it.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like spotting the forgery, and I'm not
Wow.
exactly sure. I don't know.
It does look like there's multiple of the same type of card that might have a little difference in it.
Next up is a game I'm really excited for. This is called Spectacular.
Spectacular.
It's just one Spectacular. Just a single Spectacular. This is for 1 to 6 players. It's from Chillafox Games. This is a game where you're using like tile placement and dice, and you're building your own Spectacular animal park. I
thought you were building an animal.
You are not building an animal.
What?
You are building an animal park, and I think this also has to do a lot with conservation and making sure the animals are happy and fed and have enough space. And so you're really trying to build an animal park that is really excellent for the animals, which I think is really cool. Most importantly, though, this game has a penguin on the cover. It's very small, but it's in there. There's 2 penguins, actually. They're trooping around. And I want it. I love the idea. I love Zoo Tycoon-esque type games that involve building an animal park, and this looks really fun, and I like tile placement, and I like dice manipulation type stuff, so this has a lot of elements that I like, so I'm really excited to get my hands on this one.
So the next game is The Gang, and it's by
Cosmos.
Cosmos.
From Cosmos.
And this game is right up my alley. It's a co-op Texas Hold'em type of game, and you're supposed to bet that your hand is relatively better than the others or not, and you do that quietly, all the players, and then one at a time you're putting out the cards and you're trying to see if you're right, that your hand is actually better, and if everyone guesses the correct thing for each of their cards, then you open a vault.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
cooperative.
you get caught.
You know what I think it might be similar to is kind of like The Crew. I think it's going to be similar to that a little bit. Yeah, I think possibly.
Huh.
Yeah. But this sounds really interesting, and it's for 3 to 6 players.
Yes.
Next up for me is a game called Dungeon Kart. This is for 2 to 8 players. It's from Brotherwise Games. It is essentially Mario Kart, the board game. and it looks super cool. And you have your little characters in their little carts, and you're racing them around the board. I'm really excited to check it out. It's also set in the world of Boss Monsters, so if you're familiar with those games, it's set in that same world, but it's essentially Mario Kart the game, but it's Dungeon Kart the game, and it looks really fun, so I can't wait to check it out.
Next game is We're Sinking! 3 to 6 players, and it is by Ludamous Games.
Yeah.
This game sounds really cool because you're on a pirate ship, and you're all pirates, and it's sinking. You have to try to get as much gold as possible, but you're also losing cards. So you're trying to lose these cards so you can get off the ship as light as possible and have the most money.
Yeah, it sounds really fun, and it sounds kind of chaotic, and we like chaotic games, so yeah. All right, next is a game I'm really excited about. It's called I Heart Manatees. This is for 2 to 4 players. It's from Buffalo Games. It's about manatees, and you're trying to save them and make them happy, and, you know, it sounds like it's actually probably skewed a little bit towards a younger audience, but if you've noticed a theme, I like animal games, I like conservation themes. This is another like animal water type game. It just looks so crazy cute. And I really like the idea of like trying to save the manatees. The cover's adorable. It's got a little manatee with a little heart. Oh, I just can't wait. It looks so cute.
Okay, Ziggurat. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It's type of an adventure co-op game in which you play through a story.
Yeah, it's a story-driven game.
And it's a legacy story game.
And legacy games, if you aren't familiar, basically as you play them, you're changing the game forever. So you might add stickers, you might write on elements of it, you might rip things up. And what's cool about this one is it actually has like this 3-dimensional like pyramid temple looking thing. And so I think as you play, you'll probably put stickers and stuff, or even like open compartments of that, maybe like advent calendar style. I don't know.
That is the main reason why I think I was interested in this, because it looked like a escape room object, and you know, and it says surprise-filled chapters.
Yeah. I mean, we like legacy games, and I like that this is kind of a family-friendly legacy game because it probably means it's a little bit lighter. Something I don't love about legacy games, I feel like every time you go to play them, you have to like relearn a lot of rules. So this seems like it's a little bit on the lighter side, which I think will be a lot of fun.
You're right.
Yeah. Next up for me is a game called Sirens. This is a 2-player game. You are playing as competing sirens trying to lure the most sailors. This is from Envy Born Games. I recently played my very first Envy Born game, which was Confusing Lands, and I loved it. It's a very small box game, so I definitely think we can fit it in the suitcase. But this looks so fun. I love that it's a 2-player. I love the theme. I'm excited to check it out.
He loves the theme of luring shipmen.
It's a game about luring men. What do you want? I don't know. Well, what do you want? Doesn't that sound great to you?
That's a good
That sounds great to you, right? You're invested. You're like, tell me everything. I want to lure men.
The next game on my list is Comic Hunters. Comic Hunters comics. It's 1 to 4 players. It's by Spin Master, and you collect comics and you try to get the most rare, valuable comics as possible, and it actually has real Marvel comics in it. And I don't know too much about it, but I hear it's a really good game for what it is.
I've heard it's very thematic.
Mechanics are really good, apparently, for, I think it might be set collecting. I don't remember, I don't know what the mechanics are, but I heard it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah. And we're big comic fans, so we're interested in that for sure. Next up is a game called Speed Colors. This is for 2 to 5 players. This is from Friendly Skeleton. We got a chance to play this a couple weeks ago, actually, Dice Tower East. You're essentially like, everybody's looking at the front of a card for like a couple seconds that has like images that are different colors, and then you have to turn the card and get an image that is not colored, and you have to take markers from the center of the table and try to color it from memory how it was colored on the other side, and you cannot flip back over. And it's hectic and fast and chaos and funny, and we had a really good time with it, so I'm really excited to try and get my hands on a copy. We got to play an early copy because a friend of ours had an early copy of it, and we really liked it, so.
Yeah, I mean, Jason loved it because he also won.
I won. I have a good...
colors really fast.
I color fast and I have a good memory.
And inside
skills
the lines,
that are not very useful for anything important.
The next one is called Move Like Me. Now, this one is right up my alley also because I am a physical person. I like to dance, and this is a game about movement that you have to create based on a card, and then when you create it, I think someone else has to mimic it or something like that. I don't know too much about the mechanics, but it's something like that where you're making up moves. Some of them are actual dance moves from our past and modern day, and so if you like dancing, you like people to get up and move, this is a great game. Yeah,
this is from The Op, and it's for 4 to 99 players. Woo! It kind of seemed like, even the artwork kind of reminds me of like Just Dance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a board game version of Just Dance, which I more than anything, I'm interested in just out of like sheer curiosity of how it works. But yeah, Carl likes physical dance type stuff.
I think Laquita would love this.
Yeah,
too.
So I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this.
I want to try
This
it.
is this kind of game is my worst nightmare, but I'm willing to check it out. -1 is a game called Loot. It's Loot, but with several O's. This is from Gigamic, I think is how you say it, Gigamic. And it is, you're like gathering resources, you're capturing buildings, you're playing, I think, as like Vikings, and you're trying to like develop your fjord. The artwork looks very cute. This looks probably like more of like a medium weight, like family friendly type game, but like, you know, of resource gathering and like building and probably like tableau building and things like that. I think this looks really great, and even on the table it looks really fun. It just looks really inviting, so I'm excited to try this one out and play around with it. And I think it's going to be there from, I think it'll be there from Hachette.
Next one up is DC Super Skill Pinball, featuring Harley Quinn Ball. I don't know, 1 to 4 players, and it's from WizKids, and all you need to tell me was DC anything. It says ride the rides, complete missions, and take down the Joker pinball style. Now, I think this is a reskin based on another Super Skill pinball game.
Yeah, I think this is a series of games.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but I'm willing to check it out because it says DC on it.
-1 is a game called Tir na Nog. This is for 1 to 5 players. It is from Grand Gamers Guild. So this one involves like card drafting. It involves like putting storytellers in between on like a shared grid. There's not actually, I don't think it's actually like a story-driven game, but I think you actually have cards that are storytellers that you're putting on the board that then are giving you bonuses based on where they're connected on this grid. And then there's also like card drafting and a lot of things, but it just looks gorgeous. It's like a really gorgeous looking game. And I'm very interested to check it out. Everything from the art to the pieces, it all looks really beautiful.
Undaunted 2,200 2,200 Callisto. 1 to 4 players from Osprey Games. It's a deck building game.
Yes.
We have a different version of it, like maybe one of the first iterations of this game.
We have not played it yet.
And we heard it's an excellent deck builder, and we love deck building games, and I'm excited about playing it, but the fact that this is like futuristic 2200 I didn't know how to say it. 2200 Callisto, it kind of piqued my curiosity because it's futuristic stuff, and I'm curious. I want to see more.
It looks really cool. Most of their games are set in like World War II era. I think World War I or World War II. They're like historical games, but this one is set in the future, so it looks really cool. And you're battling for dominance and
over the bleak, resource-rich moon of Callisto.
Yeah, it just sounds really cool. So we want to check this out because it's and also a lot of their games I think are 2 players, and this is 1 to 4, so that sounds really cool as well. So yeah. My next one on the complete other end of the spectrum is a game called Shut Up, Cat. This is for 2 to 4 players, and it is a push your luck game about getting a full night's sleep despite your cat.
Oh, that's
Mostly,
real.
I want this game because I feel like it's our real life.
That's real.
Our cat loves to just like step on our face, lick our face. Like he has no concept that it is the middle of the night. And when I found out there was a game about that, I was like, we're gonna need to look into that. It looks really cute. Yeah, I'm interested.
Curious. The next game is Escape from New York. It's based on a movie from the 80s. I love the movie. I did see an early version of it, and it looked really like huge. Fit this whole table, had so many elements in it. But now that I'm seeing more of the finished stuff, it's from Pendragon Studios, game studio. You're supposed to find the president and escape New York, like in the movie. And it just looks like a lot's going on, and it could be a lot of fun if it's based on the movie.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it looks like a lot, but if it's thematic and it works, I'm willing to give it a try. I'm willing to check it out. Next up is a game we have played. We actually already own, but it's a game that I'm still really excited about and I want to share with you guys, and it's releasing at Gen Con. It's a game called Luffy's Bento Panic. This is a one-piece Luffy's Bento Panic, to be more accurate. This is for 3 to 9 players, and it is from Kesco. This is essentially a game where you play as the Straw Hats, and they are trying to, like, hoard food before Luffy eats it all. So you have to like use your hands to point at different things on the table or each other to show what action you're going to take every round. So you might like gather food, you might try to save food on your plate, you might try to steal from the players around you. It's like a really frantic party game, and we played it with a bunch of friends and had so much fun. It was so funny. So if you're a One Piece fan at all, or if you like really fun, silly party games, it's really a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. Even though we already have it, I'm excited for it.
Next up is AI Space Puzzle. Now, in this game, it's another party game, of course, 2 to 5 players, in which all these people are from Earth and they're escaped and they're like in a pod and they probably woke up somewhere, but there's like a malfunctioning AI robot who's trying to help them complete tasks on the ship and try to survive, except they're malfunctioning. So there's going to be weird things that he does that you're supposed to try to follow and try to complete missions for.
Yeah, it's cooperative, and it seems like there are a lot of different scenarios to do. So it sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like it could be a little challenging, but also a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a communication-related game.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and the artwork looks really cool, and it's
Mhm.
definitely the kind of thing that we would be probably really interested in.
Mhm.
The next one is another game that we actually just got in the mail, but it's a game I'm very excited for and I really liked a lot. This is Harvest from Keymaster Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. In this game, it's essentially a farming simulation game, so if you like things like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon, or if you like games like Agricola, to me what I like about this game is it's kind of like Agricola, but like it's a lighter game than Agricola. Agricola I love, but it's a pretty heavy game, and it's a lot. Like, trying to teach that game is a lot. If it's been a while since you played, trying to relearn it is a lot. Harvest is like a nice like entry point to games like Agricola, but there's still like a lot of really interesting choices. It's fun to build out your farm and to unlock, land and to put new buildings, and you have to kind of balance between like buildings and what you're going to plant and things like that. And I don't know, I just really loved it. It's got such a cute theme because you play as little animal farmers. But yeah, I love it. I have already played this game, and I really, really enjoyed it a lot. So if you are interested in like farming simulation type games, Harvest is definitely one worth checking out.
Well, next game is Horrified World of Monsters. It's 1 to 5 players by Ravensburger. So it's another Horrified game, except it's going to be with different monsters that are a little bit more world-renowned, or like known, like Cthulhu and mummies.
Yeah, you got like Cthulhu, mummies.
Yeah.
I don't know who that guy is.
It's an ogre dude.
Yeah, an ogre. Yes, the
Shrek.
ogre dude.
Yeah.
Did you just say Shrek?
Yeah.
That is not Shrek.
One of them looks like a Chinese ghost. Okay, he literally is. I think he's a Chinese ghost.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah, and one of
He's
them
got that hat and a little piece of paper in front of him, like a Chinese vampire.
Yeah, you're right.
Zombie-ish.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, we love Horrified, and it's a cooperative game where you're trying to stop these monsters from basically like each monster is asymmetrical, so each monster has their own like specific goals and specific ways to beat them. So we're really excited for a new one with new monsters, and they're all interchangeable, so you can use these monsters in the other Horrified games,
Really?
and I think you can mix and match.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hear that the Cthulhu one is special because it has its own separate board.
Oh, that's
You
very
have
cool.
to go into his dimension.
Ooh, okay, that sounds really cool. We like that. Next up is another game we already own. We have not played yet. I ended up pre-ordering it thinking that it would get here after Gen Con, and it actually got here before Gen Con. How fun is that? This is a game called Fate Forge Chronicles of Khan. It's for 1 to 4 players. This is from Mighty Boards. This is one of those like big dungeon crawly. You play as a character and you're fighting your way through monsters and battling, and it's story-driven. I really love to play these games single player, so it feels to me a lot of times like a single player like Dungeons and Dragons experience, but on a board with miniatures, and there's a story, and it is app-driven, which I know is controversial, but I've heard a lot of people say that of all the app-driven games they've ever played, this is their favorite. You also can just play it through a website, so you don't have to have the app. You can just use the website to run the whole thing, but I've heard it is just excellent, and the story is great, and the gameplay is a lot of fun, so I cannot wait to get this on the table, which will probably happen sometime after Gen Con.
Next up is Chronicles of Light, Darkness Falls. It's a Disney game in which you play a heroine from one of the Disney animated movies or whatever, or Pixar, and you go into this other world where you're like a crystal and you defeat shadow versions of villains to restore the light.
Yeah, I think it's cooperative, and you're trying to bring light back to the world.
That's right. 2 to 4 players, and Ravensburger, right?
Yeah, this is from Ravensburger. We really like stuff like Villainous, and Lorcana, which comes from Ravensburger, and so I'm really excited to check this out. I especially love that it features like the Disney ladies, the Disney heroines, Disney princesses, and they're like the main characters in this. I think that's really cool.
It seems like it says it has modular boards, and I wonder if they're specific to certain characters, which means they could add more in the future.
Yeah, maybe they can do some expansions. That would be cool.
It sounds like a video game in the making.
Yeah, I'm excited. excited. Okay, next one. I feel like all the games right now are games we already own or have already played, which is great because it means I know more about them. Next one is a game called Flock Together. This is from Sea Cow Games. We actually have it sitting right behind me. I just got my copy because I kickstarted it. This is going to be available at the convention. I believe it'll be available in the all-play room, but then Sea Cow Games, I think, will be selling it at their booth as well. But either way, this is a cooperative game where you play as chickens protecting their coop. I recently said, and I still stand by this until something knocks it out of that spot, if something does, but this is currently my favorite game of the year. I really love it. You play as these asymmetrical chickens. You can essentially level them up, make them grow stronger and stronger. You play over several seasons. You're fighting these different villains, and the villains are different creatures, and they also grow over the course of the game and get stronger and stronger. So you really have to manage every single turn and make sure that you're doing what you need to if you hope to defeat them. It's quite challenging, which we really like in a cooperative game, but I love this game, so if you get a chance to check it out, Flock Together, it's so good.
Yeah, it's literally, they grow from child to adult.
Yeah, you go from chick to rooster. It's so good.
Next up is Creepshow, which is based on an old horror comic. Yeah. If you're not familiar with it, it just has old scary people. But I think this was really interesting because it looks like some of the game pieces are comic book panels look like, and it's a competitive game in which you play one of the creeps and you're out to kind of give bad people what they deserve.
Yeah, I think you're building stories though too.
Yes,
I think it's like a story building.
Yeah,
which sounds really, you're trying
2
to build
5 players.
Yeah, so it sounds really cool, and the theme just sounds really fun, and we really like Skybound, so I'm excited to check it out. Okay, the next one is another one that we've recently played. This is called Sacred Valley. This is from North Star Games. This is for 3 to 5 players, and essentially, I think it is Incan based, and you are farming. It's another farming game, but you have this stair type contraption in the middle of the table, and you are farming on these different levels. So you're planting these different crops and bonusing points off of them, but everyone at the table, if they learn how to plant that crop, they can bonus off of what you've already built. So it's kind of like communal farming, but also you're competing. So we really liked this game a lot. I like stuff that's farming, and I think the element of this where you're building these crops, but you have to be careful because if it gets too big, then other people are going to cash in on what you've been creating over the course of the game, which is kind of a cool concept. And it's also just a really easy game to learn and teach and play, but there's a lot of strategy to it. So we really like this one a lot. It's called Sacred Valley.
The next game is called Ultimate Dibs. It's a 2 to 10 player game by Skybound, and it's a party game where you could play in teams, and in center is a bunch of different categories, and you're supposed to call dibs on an object that can fit into that category. So when you say something like that, you take it, and then the other players have to contest it and say what other categories that thing can fit into, and they keep topping each other until someone has the ultimate dibs.
Yeah, and we like games like this. We like stuff that's very fast and party and things like that. So
yeah, I'm curious if
you could think fast enough. I don't know. This is things like a fast thinking game. I don't know. We're definitely going to check it out though. Okay, the next one that I'm interested in is a game called River of Gold. This is for 2 to 4 players. It's from Office Dog Games. This is a game, first of all, I don't know a lot about this game. I just know that it is stunning. It has this golden river on the board that's shimmering, and you're trying to get you're trying to amass riches as you go down this legendary river. But everything about the game, the production value is just insane. It just looks so, so beautiful. But I've also heard that the gameplay is just really fun and has a lot of really interesting strategy and interesting decisions. And the gameplay is really tight, so I definitely want to check this one out. It just looks so cool.
Next game is Hi-Fi. It's a 2 to 4 player game by Smirk and Dagger, and it's really interesting because it features a band called the Meatballs who did an A-side a long time ago, and it became a cult hit, so they're making a comeback to create the B-side of the record, and you are one of the producers. It's competitive, and you have to create tracks, and you have to collaborate to create these tracks, and at the end, whoever helps the most effectively wins the game.
Yeah, it's such a cool concept. It's such a cool theme, and I can't think of anything that's much like it. So
yeah, there's a lot of musical terminology of producing and making music in it, and so I'm just so curious what the mechanics are.
Next is one of my most anticipated games for the convention. This is a game called Gnome Hollow. This is coming from the Op. It's for 2 to 4 players. You are building mushroom rings, you're harvesting mushrooms, and you're carrying them to market. I am just so excited for this game. I love the theme. I love the art. It seems like one of those games that's not too complex, but has a lot of great decisions and strategy. I feel like I've said that about a lot of games, but that's, I just love that. I love when games are really easy to teach to new players. We oftentimes are getting new people into board games, so I love stuff that is light on rules but heavy on like interesting choices you get to make while you play, and it just has like such a fun little theme, like gnomes, come on.
Next up is this game is killer. 2 to 10 players by Smirk and Dagger. 3 to 10 players. And in this game, you are in a vessel in which there is some kind of xenomorph in it, and I think it's a hidden location type of game, and you're trying to survive, and you get 2 cards. One's an action, and one is like a location card. And then you just try to survive. That's all you want to do, survive.
It's like a pretty simple game, but it's supposed to be like kind of capture the essence of like the Alien movies.
Yeah.
But in like a quick little like hidden area game. It sounds really fun and really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is a game I'm really excited for. It's called Turnip. This is for 3 to 5 players. It is from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. In this game, you are playing like turnip cards, and you're trying to like get the most turnips to market. It is a bluffing game, so you're like trying to like get these. I think you're trying to play as many of these but get them past the like turtle tax. So you don't want to play too many good ones or you don't want them to know you're playing too many good ones because you don't want to get taxed too much. It looks really cute, and Rose Gauntlet is putting out some really great stuff, so I am just excited to check out pretty much their entire booth, but specifically Turnip.
Doggerland is the next game. It's 1 to 4 players by Super Meeple. And in this game, Doggerland is like...
Carl really wants to call it Dodgerland, but it is Doggerland.
The land connecting Great Britain and Europe, and it actually sunk under the water during the one of the ice ages.
Yeah.
And so it was real, and so you're trying to create a civilization or your own clan can withstand time and have like a cultural history that they can still find.
Yeah,
over
which
time.
is such a cool theme. But it definitely has like that Ice Age vibes. Like I think there are like mammoth meeple type things, and there's like these big deer looking things. You're hunting, you're setting up an encampment, you're building your culture. This game definitely looks more on the complex side. I'm not gonna lie. This looks like a pretty like crunchy like Euro game. You're gathering resources, you're surviving, you're growing your civilization, but it just looks so stinking cool. Like, it looks so cool on the table. My next one, I will be shocked if we get a copy of this, because I know that the copies they're going to have at Gen Con are super limited. But I'm going to try anyway. It's Boop the Halls. Okay, so we love Boop. Boop is a 2-player game where you play as cats, booping each other off of a mattress. And then they had Boop, which had ghost cats. And now this is Boop the Halls, which has like different tiers. And so it's sort of like a Christmas tree or presents or something like that. So it's the holiday edition of Boop.
Cool.
We love Boop, and I'm excited to try and get it. I'm sure if we can't get it at the convention, we'll get it after the convention. But I would love to try and snag a copy while we're there, because we love Boop. So I can't wait for this new one.
The next game is Chronologic Paris 1920. It's a 1 to 4 player game by Super Meeple.
Yeah.
We actually got to play this game.
Yeah.
It's a discover the killer, where they killed the person, and when game. So
I love that
there's
description.
a bunch of different like clues, and it's interesting. They have this mechanic where there's like a card that has holes in it, and you put it on top of another card, and it reveals one clue that's just for you and one clue for everybody else, the location and or time of when, how, and whatever. And so you start deducting all these things while everyone is checking one at a time, and more things are revealed.
Yeah, it's a deduction game, and we really liked it. It's like a really good puzzle and like a whodunit. So, yeah. Next up is a game I'm really excited for. It's called Middle Ages. This is for 2 to 5 players from Studio H. You're going to be developing your fiefdom via like tiles, and I love tile placing games. You're going to be trying to become the wealthiest noble in the kingdom. It just sounds like such a theme that I'm in love with. It looks so good, and I love like tile elements, and I love the like become the richest noble type games. It looks so good. I can't wait to try it.
Nestlings is the next game. It is 1 to 4 players, and it is from Tangerine Games. I love tangerines. And in this game, you play a mama bird or daddy bird or a bird who takes care of little baby birds in these harsh biomes and terrains where like there's a savanna, freshwater, desert, and you're just trying to take care of your babies.
Yeah, Yeah, it's just you're playing as a bird trying to survive like a difficult ecosystem to care for your baby birds. It sounds so cute. Yeah. Next up is a game that I am very excited. I actually was able to get an early copy, but oh my god, I love it so much, so I want to tell you about it. It's called Nekojima. This is a dexterity-based game, kind of Jenga-esque, where you're stacking these electrical poles on top of each other, and then you're hanging cats from them. It's based on like the Cat Islands in Japan, and it's so fun. It's so cute. It's chaotic, and of course, there's always that moment where someone knocks it over and everything goes toppling. I love this game, and I'm very happy that we already have a copy, because if we didn't, it would be the very first thing I went to buy at Gen Con, because I am obsessed with it. That, by the way, is from Unfriendly Games, and I believe it will be at the Hachette booth if you're looking for it.
And the last game I have is Sorcerer Endbringer by Wise Wizard Games. And this is an expansion to the original Sorcerer game. It's like a card-driven game, and I think it's a skirmishing game. But in this game, they create like a one-player / cooperative version of it. So you can actually play it with 1 to 3 people.
Yeah.
I love co-op, so we actually have Sorcerer, but we haven't gotten to it yet. So now I'm looking forward to playing it even more.
Yeah. And this sounds like, I feel like this will make Sorcerer a game that we are more excited to play because of the co-op element, because of what it adds to the game. It looks really cool. I think you're playing as like wizards. You're teaming up to battle against crazed demigod known as a Main. I don't know what that is, but it sounds really cool and epic. So, and that is all the games we're excited for at Gen Con.
Is that all?
Obviously, we're not going to get all of these games, but they are all games that we are at least interested in checking out. As you heard, some of them we've already gotten or we've already played, but we're excited. We just wanted to tell you about them because we really loved them. But a lot of them we're going to either be getting or going to the booth and at least checking out and taking a look at. You know, a lot of them we just want to know more about because we don't know a whole lot so far. So we want to demo them or try them or look at them or any of that stuff. But there are definitely some in there that we are excited to like actually purchase and get our hands on.
Yep.
For sure.
And if you're going to Gen Con, this will give you a heads up to, you know, what to look for as well.
Yeah. Are there any games in particular that you are excited for at Gen Con? Are there any on this list that you saw that you were like, oh, I definitely want to check that out? We would love to know. Please let us know those in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed this and if you like my content, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want Carl in more videos, let me know that too, because I'd like to invite him back. Maybe.
Wow.
If you're interested in finding me in other places on the internet, I'll put all those links down below. I do have a free-to-join book club, a free-to-join anime club, a free-to-join Discord, and of course I have a subscriber community on Bindery where not only do I post exclusive content, but we are also publishing books together. We have House of Frank coming out in October, and then we have Of Monsters and Mainframes coming out next spring. That is all for us. Carl, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, wow. It's so formal here at our home. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy playing.